Good. All right, we'll go ahead and open up the special call meeting for October the 2nd. Go ahead and open up with a word of prayer. Lord, thank you for all that you do for us. Watch over us as we go out for this evening. May we make great decisions for the community and for the fire district. And as we go out through this month, watch over us and all we do. In your name we pray. Amen. Pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let her roll. All right. Let's see if I can get to that.
It's just budget and then about setting a committee.
I just wanted to make sure I was. First. Yeah. Doug, would you do a roll call? real quick,
Yeah.
please?
Doug, here. Paul,
Here.
Brandon,
Here.
Daniel,
Here.
Mike Fisher, Sonia.
Oh, fast. All right. First agenda was to review the 25-26 budget that we came up with a few weeks ago. I think the biggest thing is the way it's presented. It shows that we don't have any reserve funds that are designated for grants. If I remember that's what
Not designated, but available.
available grants, excuse me, thank you. So we need to make some type of funding, matching funds in case we do get a grant. That way, when we send it in to the federal government or the state, they see that we have some funds available. So,
Have we done that in the past though?
yeah, we've had.
Because we're trying to save it.
Well, I say we had a savings that showed, but our savings is low. But also, I think some of the guidelines for the federal grant system has changed where you've got to show.
How much do you think we need to show?
Well, I mean, usually it's about 5% of whatever you buy. So, I mean, it all depends on what we get. So, I mean, if we
Cause like,
go with the,
It's not that we,
the one coming up, our 5% is like
hey,
just under $900.
yeah, I was thinking maybe around
And that's not,
5.
that's not counting plumber work that was gonna go into that one and electrical,
Yeah.
which you end up getting your money back, but you gotta pay it up front. So when you add that in, I would say, I would feel comfortable saying it's gonna be less than 2,000 on our part.
Now, do you have any big grants, like truck-wise, that are going out this year? Or-
I mean, we're gonna apply for a truck every year.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure. But even if, I mean, that's a large amount of money to set aside, so I'm thinking if we could free up maybe $8,000 to $10,000 somewhere.
now here's the thing, a truck is a capital expense.
Okay.
These are your operating expenses.
True.
The truck really doesn't need to be in your operating expense. Now, if you wanna make a separate thing, so that's what makes the issue is, we're saying we got $442,000 worth of expenses, but we got 40,000 designated for a truck. So technically, what you've done is said, the money we have in savings is for a truck, because you're not getting that money.
Yeah.
You don't have the money coming in. So you can't allot your available funds in case you get a grant, because you can pull from that and then put it back in there. But if you say, okay, I know I'm not getting that much money, but I'm over in the budget by 40,000, so you've kind of put that money aside.
So we're gonna be over no matter what, even if we take that new truck fund out.
It needs to be removed anyway, I mean.
Yeah.
But it needs to be put into a capital expense. You know, you could put a thing at the bottom and say, you know, the board's goal for this year would be to put aside $40,000 for our truck, but it's not realistic.
I think the budget has gotta reflect that we have to have new stuff. If you're,
Right, but
It'll
not
show
all
that.
I think it
operating
does. It's, and it's just like the city's budget doesn't have to reflect that they need to have new roads put in. They have a capital improvement fund for a reason. It's separate from the budget for a reason, because it's a capital expenditure. But, I mean, it needs to be clearly stated that we need a truck. This is
Yeah.
not something that doesn't need to be not said, but it doesn't have to be part of the budget. More importantly, we need to show a budget. We need to have realistic expenses of what we know we're gonna have to pay. So realistically, what do we have to have for dues and subscriptions? What do we have to have for equipment maintenance? What do we realistically expect is gonna go out? Then we have to go back and look at the income. Once again, what is the realistic income that we can get, not counting on 100% fire dues being paid. And the realistic income that we project coming in, and then we gotta go back to the expenses side and start carving those expenses down to where they fit the budget. And that means having cuts where it's like, sure hope we don't have more truck maintenance than $20,000 because we ain't got it. But obviously truck maintenance is not something you could really cut. Nobody wants to say it. Everybody wants to hide from it and run from it. Everybody's afraid of the backlash and, people getting all antsy about stuff, people being worried about jobs and that sort of thing. The honest truth is about the only thing we really have significant cutting room in is payroll. And the only real places we can cut payroll is elimination of employees or elimination of shifts or both. And putting that reality in front of people, especially ahead of a dues increase vote, should hammer that home when you're like, hey, look, based on what we're looking at here, we realistically cannot budget enough for this. We got enough savings that we can keep our 24/7 coverage for another year. But next year the savings are gone and it will not be there. We've got to face that reality, and we've got to show that reality to the members and quit trying to play fancy games where we pretend like we have the money to operate, because that's exactly what the people who don't want to vote for a dues increase say anyway. Well, look there, here's their budget. Their own budget says they got enough money. Their own budget says this, and then of course you can't put out a budget that doesn't balance, because then they'll be like, they're literally telling us they're going to spend more money than they got. So
if you got more bills than you got money, then you're gonna spend it.
then we got to cut the bills, and that's what we got to. We have to show the members when we present the budget that the only way to make column A cover column B is to cut column B. There is no enough shaking boots or upside down helmets. There's not enough grant money that we can realistically expect to get. There's not enough additional money out there, and there's not really enough, not giving Martha paper and making her print on both sides of everything to save enough money to make up for it. Because let's go down the line item what we have
About
here.
16,000 over roughly.
Yeah, and that's assuming we get all of our dues. But let's just say we get all of our dues, and we just make that very clear that, hey, look, this is sunshine and rainbows. Nobody gets 100%. Already said payroll, building grounds and utilities. You could say we could trim back that 26,000, understanding full well that unless everything goes perfect, we're looking at deferred maintenance. Let's see, what all goes into our professional fees? Audits and,
Audit and lawyer fee.
no, so you can't trim professional fees really. Not unless we fire our attorney and go find a budget attorney, start using legals in them around here. Dues and-
I would think that it could stay at 10, it only went over this year because we had the election.
Yeah, so I mean, we might have a little there,
But
we
This
get really
coming
cut-
election is gonna be in this dues year.
Yeah, but it won't be for the whole time, like we've had to use her all year.
Yeah.
Insurance costs what it costs, fuel, we gotta be realistic about what we're gonna run, that's gonna cost what it's gonna cost. Same thing with medical supplies. I mean, new equipment, we could shave a few $1,000s out of new equipment and make sure we turn around and tell people that means that we better hope stuff don't break. Cause, Tyler, what have we got that is expiring this budget year that has to be covered? We have any like turnout gear or anything that goes bad this year that we don't have replacements for or backups for?
I mean, we don't have none that's necessarily gonna expire, not hit the 10-year window, but that's not to say that
Somebody could.
we don't have a gas leak tomorrow and ruin 2 sets.
Exactly.
I-
So we could trim back new equipment and say, we're
Well,
budgeting this for new
not just
equipment.
turnout gear either, that's
Yeah.
hand tools, that's everything,
Hoses.
saws, hose.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying you eliminate the new equipment budget, but
The
what I'm
only
saying is,
reason, the only reason we didn't use it last year was because we got lucky enough on grants all year.
exactly, so it's the same thing, it's like, hey, we gotta trim this back, so why are we trimming back this new equipment and hoping we get grants and hoping stuff doesn't break? Cause we didn't get a dues increase. So, y'all need to understand that the hose that's coming to your house, you know, hopefully it's not the old hose that we couldn't replace because you guys didn't vote for it. Let's see here, office expenses, do we really have anything in office expenses that can we trim back? I mean, I really don't wanna sit here and say, we need to talk about, you know, half-ply toilet paper and double printing on super thin paper. But,
Martha, what does QuickBooks come out of?
It comes out of the office under the financial software. Now, we did have a decrease in the copier for this year, a little bit less than it used to be, because we used to pay the payment and the usage.
Now we're just
Now
paying
we're just paying
usage.
the usage.
let's see here, our employment expenses, how much of that is current employees, how much is hiring new people? What all have we got in employment expense?
Uniforms, training, and then like the yearly annual awards and stuff that's like right over here.
But we only spent $600 and something dollars.
Yeah, we don't spend much there, so we can cut that
Yeah,
budget back.
we cut it back already.
Yeah, we did.
We took 1,500 out of it.
I'm gonna take more out of it. And I'm not saying,
You gotta account for uniforms though.
oh, I know. But the point I'm getting at here with the budget, one, you can go over budget if it's absolutely necessary. The budget is supposed to be the guideline that we shoot for. It's supposed to be the guiding principle behind our financial decisions. And given the financial position with the fact that we don't know if we're gonna get a dues increase, what we got there, that we're already relying on essentially 100% dues coming in this budget. The budget's a tool, and we should be showing these people, it's like, hey, in order to make this department run in the black and keep its doors open and not completely annihilate all of its savings, this is how far we have to cut things back to make a reasonable budget. And we have to tell everybody, you all need to understand that we will go over this budget if we do not get more money in. If we don't get grants, if we don't get a lot of prayers answered, we will blow this budget apart. And then the next year, if we don't get a dues increase, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The budget will fall to pieces. And I just don't think trying to put something out there where it's like, oh yeah, we're going for $40,000 in a new truck fund. To me, as somebody out there that's saying, it's like, these people are just blowing smoke left and right. Where's this 40,000 gonna come from? Or, you know, handing them a budget that says explicitly we're gonna be in the red, sounds like it would do the same thing I'm talking about, but it really doesn't. It just makes the people out there think, well, you know, they're a liar. You know, they're telling us they don't have the money, but they clearly do because they budgeted for it.
Well, so far I can see $12,000 of the $16,000 that we need to balance. 10 can come out of utilities, grounds, and building maintenance, and then 2 can come out of employee expenses, and then we can drop maybe 2 out of new equipment. Just spitballing right now. So that makes 14, excuse me. And then, I mean, technically we got 6,000 in new hydrant, but we could get possibly coverage for that through, some other funding, so.
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have a
I
problem.
mean, you could take 2 out of hydrants also to give you that 16,000.
Yeah.
And just leave 4,000 in hydrants, and I mean, that'll at least repair a couple hopefully.
Yeah. Let's do that.
On the buildings and grounds, where you,
We taking out how much?
10 grand.
10.
How?
how?
Where were our utilities? What were our total utilities last year?
Now, our utilities will be better this year because we insulated Station G, but in the winter, the gas bill over there is like $800.
Well, we don't know what it's gonna be this year
But-
with the installation.
Maybe it'll be better this year.
Well,
But I
technically,
don't
we
think
only.
it'll be $10,000 worth of better.
Yeah, that might be a little bit
I
high.
mean, that's the question, is like, can we actually pay all the bills around here, power bill and all that
I
stuff?
don't see it's
For
been.
26, for 16 grand a year?
I don't think
Well, what did we spend last year on utilities?
36,800.
37.
Well, that's because some of that was a grant, so we only really spent minus $11,000, what I'm reading, right?
We went over by
Well,
$11,000.
11.7 is what we went over.
Because of the grant.
8,500 of that
Yeah.
is the grant.
So,
So,
8,500, that
So,
still puts us at
how
26.
did we get 10 grand out if we went over last year?
we're 3,200 over for last year, somewhere around.
Yeah, 3,238 we were over.
So we were basically 28, we basically 29 is what we really would have needed to budget
We
last
spent-
year.
Well, but I'll point out these numbers are as of August 25th. There's a whole nother,
No,
okay, so ignore that part, okay.
She just didn't type it in.
Okay. That's through the end of the year.
yeah, it was through August, but I
Alright.
went ahead and added September.
Good.
So at least we got the.
Well, we leave,
Yeah.
if
it's
we
not-
leave that, then we gotta do
it's
something
not-
else.
I mean, we're over 10 grand on payroll, but we're still 5 grand short of where we're at.
So we're still 10,000 in the hole somewhere.
I mean, it's,
Hey,
Did we not spend anything
We're gonna
on new
make-
equipment last year?
We didn't have to, we didn't have to
We got
because of
that
grants.
reimbursed.
Everything that we had planned on getting, we ended up getting a grant for all of it.
it's the same song we've been singing to everybody who's been talking about the department. When we tell them, it's like, we got lucky.
Yeah.
We work, we have people here who worked really hard and got us grants to cover up the gap. And we can't rely on grants every year.
Can we work with 6,000 on new equipment this year then? Just to.
It'd be close, cause like I said, I just, you gotta kinda expect the unexpected. I mean, I don't wanna have to
Yeah.
replace nothing.
I mean, it's always.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Let's just put 6,000 in there as a placeholder and see where we're at. That's 4, it's 10. Still need 6,000 somewhere.
so we,
Let me see here.
we dropped new equipment to 6, we dropped fire hydrants to 4. What else did we do?
Drop employment expense to 1,500.
To 1,500.
It's a drop report expense of 1,500, so that's 2,000 we took out of that. 4,
I think your volunteer pay is gonna be
10.
where it is.
And we're sitting here staring at it.
Drop
Staring
payroll.
right at it. It's,
Drop
Are you
one.
gonna do that?
I mean, you
Yeah.
drop payroll 5 grand and sit there and pretend like we're gonna magically skate in with the exact same payroll we had last year.
No, we're not gonna pay out the same amount of hours.
What I don't understand
That
here.
needs
Go
to
ahead.
be evaluated regardless, but we have an employee that wants to dial back, which is probably gonna have to happen anyway for budgetary concerns. We will say, I don't know how much, because we haven't got that far in the discussions, but there will be some savings there.
No, yeah.
But
I mean, that's
also,
5.
But we,
also this year, we were short employees, so the guys were working extra shifts. So,
And the overtime rate was funky. We adjusted that too.
yeah, we're just,
You think you gonna save 10 grand out of your payroll?
Between what he was talking about and the change in the overtime
Yeah.
rate and stuff,
We need
it'll be close.
We need 6,2 to
Which
Balance that.
move payroll
Oh,
twenty-three to 235.
We'll get to that.
Payroll
That'll actually give us a little bit of a surplus.
to two, what?
235.
235.
That's 10 grand coming out of payroll. It's $5,000 more than we budgeted last year, 5,000 less than we actually spent last year. And
I think with
That'll
all the
give us-
things, it's attainable.
it gives us a little bit of a surplus, which we can then at least back that much out of the fire.
So you're talking about taking 10,000 off of
Yeah.
Like,
And then that gives us like, what, 4,000 surplus? Back that out of your fire
it.
dues. Or back it out of donations.
What I don't understand is why you're sitting here trying to balance a budget, and then in the next moment you say, but we're gonna use savings.
Because we know we're gonna use savings. The budget is a
should
goal.
reflect that. If we know that we're gonna use $10,000 worth of savings, that's what the budget should reflect.
The budget is a goal. If everything goes right, we should be able to stay within that budget. If anything goes wrong, we will be dipping into savings. We present a balanced budget to the membership, and we say this is a balanced budget. It is theoretically possible that this budget works and that everything stays within it, but they need to understand that this is a shaved down budget with an optimistic income goal, and anything that goes wrong, period, results in dipping into the savings that are already depleted. So you're showing them perfection, we can barely survive. Anything but perfection, we're draining savings, and that is, everybody will understand, there's no such thing as a year where nothing goes wrong. So we deliver the message while still doing what we have, because the other option, and this is, if you really, like I said, if you want to, you get down and you bite the hard bullet, the way you balance the budget is you put in realistic expectations for all the income, like, we track the percentage of fire dues we normally get. We get real conservative on our donations, and then we chop it out of payroll because we know we can do that, and we stand up and we say, all right, members, which 2 firefighters do you want to fire? Or not necessarily which 2 firefighters do you want to fire, but which 2 shifts would you not like covered? Do you want to have no weekend fire coverage? Do you think Wednesday and Friday are the days that you shouldn't have fire coverage? Because we're going to have to cut something. Because that's what makes it work. This at least says, hey, look, we're going to keep our 24/7 coverage. We are going to do what we have to do to protect this community. But you need to understand that we are coasting on fumes and the gas station's getting further and further away.
Yep. Agreed. Now, re-looking at that number, so if we take 10 out of payroll, we take 2,200 out of new equipment. 2,200. That just, I adjusted it.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
I'm just trying to make it match upstairs on the top up there. That gives us 12,200 plus take 2 out of employment expense and 2 out of fire hydrants. That gives us 16,200, which is what we were over with to balance out the budget. And we moved that 40,000 to a line item for capital. For capital improvement. I think that'll balance everything out, and yes,
So what do you have on new equipment now?
new equipment should be, yeah, it says 12,000 there,
Mm-hmm.
we're taking 22 off of that, so that'll be,
9,800.
98, yeah.
Only thing, and that's what I'm trying to log into, to get an idea of what's going on.
That was just taken before we out. That's, I don't know, it should be, that's now.
Should be 385.8.
Right. I think Martha's actually printing it, the corrected there.
Yeah, I think, Tyler's looking up something.
I made that really small, but I didn't mean for it to be that small. So that would be with your changes. I would make that bigger.
Yeah, I got you.
You can show that.
Yep. That balances it out, but we still. Yeah, I think we're. Now, do we wanna make this 30,000 for capital expense and make a $10,000 savings adjustment for the grants down here in the capital?
You just can't, you can't take that money.
Well, if you make it for, well, like we do in the savings,
I wouldn't even put it on the budget. It's a hope and a dream.
I would just use it as we talk about the election, that our goal or what we need, or however you wanna word it, is to be able to put that much a year
In the fund.
into savings.
but what I'm saying is we got to apparently show a savings account on our budget. Whether we use the dashboard, where we use the.
No, we just not, we gotta know that we haven't.
She said that has to be on a sheet of paper she can submit to the grant, showing that, and on our website.
It doesn't necessarily mean it has to be part of our motion on our budget. We just need to include that in the official budget document. This is what our savings are. And if we don't actually have savings, I mean,
We'll have savings at some point throughout the year. but-
Yeah,
We
probably in
did it
November.
out, Yeah, exactly. Or we typically, okay.
when somebody comes in and parachutes in with a $20,000 donation,
Okay, I've been praying. It's coming.
It ain't gonna change the number you came up with,
Okay.
but let's take 500 from medical supply and put it in employment expense to make that 2,000. Change medical to 5,500
Mhm.
and employment expense, 2,000.
good place to shake it out.
Yes, I do.
We spent 51 this year, but that was replacing a bunch of stuff, because we had a bunch of old expired stuff in there and all that. So now that all that's current, plus replenishing from the ambulance on scene and stuff, shouldn't be as bad. And that leaves a little buffer there, because uniforms come out of the employment expense. In my plan, moving forward, because I got a new uniform thing set up in NAFTA, is just to order a bulk, like 25 larges, 25 mediums, and keep a stock locked up in my office.
Yeah.
Where every time somebody ruins a shirt or somebody new comes, we ain't having to order and spend $40 here, $40 here, $50 here.
Yeah, it's gonna be cheaper.
Just keep it in stock.
anyway.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right.
Well, if we do it this way and we need to add that line, we can add that this way now.
We gotta get the numbers anyway.
All right. Well,
I move we present this budget as amended to the membership.
Nick, on the 18th, I think what's our board meeting date for this month? Did I say 18th?
21st.
21st, thank you.
21st, yeah.
Yeah.
It's November 18th.
That's
Yeah.
the birthday week.
October 21st is our next annual board meeting.
Yep.
All right. So you got a motion to move that to the floor? Yep. Need a second.
I'll second.
Doug, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, we got one opposed and 3 motions to move forward, so. Motion passed, and we will get this going for October. I say October 21st. Back to All right, so next is to appoint a committee to perform contract reviews and contract employee evaluations. I'll take volunteers first, if anybody,
I realize that he is one of the 3, but because the other 2 report to him, I would like Tyler involved.
okay. Tyler on the employees.
And Mr. Quick and I met with Tyler a week or 2 ago and started some conversations. I've had more with Tyler since then. I think the way that it's on the agenda, we can't do anything tonight, but I think we've got something we can work with Tyler. We just,
We just need to do the formal performance review.
yeah. Well, I mean, I was talking on the contract side, but we need to do that as well, yeah. And then we've got one of our office people that has expressed desire to dial back, which, like I said earlier, is kind of a good thing because the budget, and we've kind of had some sideline stuff on what that might look like, but I guess whoever this committee is can continue and nail some stuff down.
The thing that we need to have, bare minimum treasurer and preferably a second officer from the board on that committee.
I'll volunteer.
Well, I was gonna ask if you want to volunteer since we had already met with him and kind of have our feet in that to a degree.
And I'm happy to fill in a 4th slot if you need one.
I
So,
think 3 should be sufficient.
3 for each position, or each?
I think the same committee can do all. I don't think we
Well,
need different.
no, I mean, one of them, Tyler would have to have 3
Yeah.
people
Tyler's, the contract doesn't expire
for another year.
for another year.
Well, but
We gotta have
we'll
at least
potentially amend it.
You still gotta review it every year.
But I mean, for that one, I mean, Paul and I can do the evaluation. I mean, it's kind of already been discussed in the previous meeting. You just need to formalize it.
Doug and Paul and
More than anything, it is reviewing the
Yeah,
contract.
the contract's the
with
bigger thing. I mean,
contract
as a matter of business, yeah, we need to do some kind of evaluation, but to iron out the contract stuff, or more so job responsibilities on the office side is where the need is.
I'm gonna put Sonia on there for right now since she's kind of the secretary, so in case we need to have some kind of paperwork drawn up. If she doesn't, then we'll readjust that. So that's the three. Mr. Quick, I'm sure, since you're most senior, you'll be kind of the head or chair, and we'll go from there.
Chair and the treasurer and the secretary.
Yep. Easy enough.
Perfect.
I'm going to form the committee for, review of contracted employees, consists of Vice President Paul Quick, Treasurer Doug Boyer, Secretary Sonia Whitaker, and Chief Tyler Doyle.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed.
You want to set a timeline on those reviews?
Well, we need the first two pretty quick, I guess, so that's within the month.
Do we want to give
I
for
don't
the
think
October or
so.
the November meeting?
I would say by the November meeting, because
Yeah.
there's enough going on October and
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 It
then-
also gives us the results of the election between when you have to finish, which can change your recommendation.
not if we're saying November meeting, that's
That's the election day.
we'll have the meeting at 6 and they quit voting an hour later.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
know we, change that.
we can change that.
The
November
meeting is
meeting.
the same day as the election. I won't have any insanity.
Yeah,
Well,
I think,
we
I think
Change
we
the
gotta-
meeting, I can be there, but
We
the
can't do that.
18th falls on our
We
shift.
can't do it till next month, or the regular board meeting.
Yeah, we'll have to do it at the board meeting after the annual. But
Jeremy Brown,
Go ahead.
18th falls on our shift,
Yeah.
and I can't get out, I've already looked.
All right, we can ponder that, so that way.
If you'll make a note of that put that on the agenda for October monthly meeting. The regular monthly meeting. All right, I think that, other than possible, executive session, I don't think we have anything, do we?
We have to, we do need to set a, some kind of, target date for that committee to finish their reviews. We want to call it the December meeting, and if it comes in early, it comes in early.
I'm glad y'all got it.
I don't think we need that long.
Well, we can have it before the,
Because I don't see that the dues vote really makes
I would say
a difference.
just
Because
my
that, if the results of that vote aren't going to affect
still
this
one,
budget
one wants to cut back anyway, so.
and that.
I would say by November meeting, because that lets us get past the annual
Yeah.
and into regular meeting again.
I'll make a motion to have a recommendation by the next, or the November meeting, whatever we set it at, on the 21st.
I'll second the motion.
Alright, got a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Alright,
Motion to adjourn.
alright. Got a motion on the floor to adjourn?
Second.
Doug seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Alright. Thank you, everybody.